Mission Miami. But we're here today because we believe in prayers, and we believe that this nation was built on prayers. And we're happy to say that we're able to come here to City Hall in North Miami on May the 2nd, which is National Day of Prayer, actually, which was ordained by President Reagan in the 80s, that we could hold a National Day of Prayer on May, on the first Thursday of May. We're here to pray for the city. We want to pray for the mayor. We want to pray for the council. We want to pray for everyone that's involved in this city, because we're here to pray and believe. We believe for a city that can be transformed. So at this time, I'm going to ask Pastor Jack to give us a few words.
I appreciate everyone for being out here today, and it's a delight to be out here. Thank you. And again, our prayers do go out to the victims and the loved ones of the people that were hit by this tragedy in Boston, and also for all people throughout the world who are oppressed and marginalized, whether it's Syria, Israel, Haiti. Our prayers go out to that. And again, we are so excited about National Day of Prayer. This is a national event, and we will be hosting it here at the North Miami Courtyard, which we're out here right now on May 2nd. So join us. All people are welcome. People of all faiths, you're welcome to come join us and to call upon God for the blessing of this city. And again, right now, I would like to especially thank 4 of our council persons, Councilman Glenn, our Mayor Andre Pierre, Councilwoman Sterrell, and Councilman Marcellus, for they voted in line with the Constitution. They voted in line with the city charter, which allows nonprofits who meet the stipulations to be able to access city equipment and resources, and they voted in line with our national heritage that has been practiced since George Washington was made law in 1952, and of course was solemnized by Ronald Reagan as he dedicated the first Thursday of May as a National Day of Prayer. And we want to say thank you to all the commissioners, all the representatives, all the governors, senators, Congress, and our presidents who recognize this National Day of Prayer, that our nation needs the blessing of God. And secondly, I would like to respond to some of the criticism that's happened. First of all, I'd like to especially say thank you to Councilman Glenn, who voted yes on this issue, being himself Jewish, standing with the Constitution as a First Amendment lawyer, and saying, you know what, all the people in our city, whether they're Catholic, Buddhist, evangelical, deserve equal access to city resources to pray. So I just like to give kudos to Councilman Glenn for taking a position of true leadership, of standing on side of the whole city and not just one demographic that's putting pressure on him. That man truly deserves to lead. Then secondly, my response to Councilman Scott Galvin, who basically is criticizing this event because of our viewpoint on sexual ethics. I would like to say that he is on the record saying that I voted no on this equal access issue as a legitimate nonprofit because of his viewpoint discrimination towards our organization as Christians, as conservatives, and even people who represent conservative Islam, conservative Judaism, so on and so forth. And I would like to say that I'm asking the gay community to rebuke such discriminatory, extreme language, even for homosexuals, that basically says that people of different viewpoints cannot access, even though they meet all the criterias, city resources, city public space, that our First Amendment protects us on our viewpoint and our speech. And I would say that's the type of discrimination that's keeping people from accessing public funds, public resources that no person should practice, whether you're a Christian, a Catholic. Everyone should have access to public resources in which they are also taxpayers and contributors to the life of the city. And lastly, we would like to say, join us on May 2nd for this National Day of Prayer, and we are asking all people to not practice discrimination in the public square, but to allow free speech, free worship of religion in the public square, in which people are able to exercise their First Amendment rights. Thank you guys, and we hope to see you May 2nd here at the National Day of Prayer in North Miami.
Pastor, you are being accused of making anti-gay statements and making discriminatory statements against gay people.
Sure, and the question I would ask to not only Councilman Galvin, but all people who throw around the word anti-gay, do they mean anti-gay like anti-Semitic, like anti-African American, where there was systematic hostility, murder, raping, pillaging, and kidnapping of people? Or do they mean that we disagree on a viewpoint? The way that some people don't like the Miami Dolphins, the way that some people don't agree with baptism, the way that some people don't agree with Islam's theological beliefs. Differing viewpoints is not anti and is not hate. It just means that we have a different sexual ethics, and as most of the population in the world, Islam, Judaism, and Christians believe in traditional marriage on this issue. And we would say that the semantics of anti-gay in itself is an absurdity and doesn't even correctly define our viewpoint, because we love homosexuals. I have homosexual friends, and we will embrace, we will hug, and we will work with homosexuals. And that is not hate, and that is not anti.
But gays are a protected group, and they have been victims of violence.
Very minimal in comparison to my ancestors, which is the Armenians. Over 1 million Armenians were killed in the genocide. Over millions of Jews were killed by the Nazis. So when we say anti, we definitely mean anti on a mild, minute level, in such a way that subgroups are hip hop. I'm part of the hip hop culture, and we've been hated on. So in a sense, anyone who dislikes hip hop, I wouldn't walk around from a philosophical viewpoint and coin them anti. Anti traditionally has meant in which you are systematically trying to induce and incite violence and public discrimination, and not particular viewpoint, especially in the private and religious sector.
You don't think that some of those comments that you have made could incite violence against gay people?
Well, anything can incite violence. If I say right now that I don't like rock music, I wish all rock music would just be gone, and there are people who have those preferences of genre music. That can incite violence, but we know in the First Amendment constitutional nation that such language, one is responsible for the way they respond to other people's viewpoints and dislikes. So no, I think criminal speech is threatening, telling people, let's go hurt this people group, people who love this type of genre. That has been traditionally hate speech. So even the loose use of anti and haters, it in itself is a semantical absurdity, because I've never heard an evangelical or Catholic priest or pastor ever even whisper, let's get these people, let's hurt these people, let's discriminate against these people in public square. There's private religious beliefs, but never to the point where anyone has ever talked about let's incite our kids towards violence. That has been traditionally hate speech, threatening, and anti. To say anti-gay is comparable to anti-Semitism, I think the Jewish community should be outraged. African Americans who were enslaved for 200 years, raped, kidnapped, to compare that same language to anti-gay and what's happening in our modern culture, which is more of a viewpoint differences, it doesn't make logical sense.
Pastor Jack, will you commit today to not using this event to criticize and denigrate gay people?
Yeah, basically that label was put on us by Councilman Scott Galvin. The purpose of this event is what it is. It's called the National Day of Prayer. The focus is to ask God for compassion upon all people.
Will you be talking about gay people?
No, we won't. No, the purpose of the event is to ask God for compassion upon all people. Gay, heterosexual, atheist, non-religious. We want God's love and blessing upon all people. And that's really the Christian gospel. God loves the world. That he gave his only begotten son.
And not only that, can I say something?
Sure.
Tolerance.
So can you say your name?
David Vega from Mission Miami. Tolerance is a two-sided coin. What Pastor Jack believes here, the way we believe, does not change while we're here to pray forward. What happens if we decide to say, you know, we really don't agree with the councilman in his point of view or his outtake? Should we persecute him? Should we say, you should be out of office because of this reason? Listen, that's your belief. This is our belief. We're not here to fight, discuss, and criticize each other. We're here because we want to respect where we stand as a church group, where he stands as a councilman, and above everything, National Day of Prayer is not about Pastor Jack. It's about all the pastors here that you see getting together to meet together, pray together, to bless this city, and to bless the people of this area.
Our response is this: will Save Day, will the gay pastors and organizations chastise such extremist language? Because I'm going on the record right now to say If an evangelical or Catholic priest or pastor or politician ever withholds public access that is based on equal access to resources, city space, city equipment, as long as they meet all the criteria, if they ever do that, I will publicly connect with those gay organizations and rebuke that religious person for not allowing the public square to be truly what it is, a neutral space where there's disagreement over ideas, there's public conversation, there's public debate. Will Save Dave, will these organizations chastise people who minimize the First Amendment and public square debate and discussion that should be done civilly, but should allow everyone to access public equipment and resources? That's our struggle, and we're taking a commitment for justice and true equality in line with Martin Luther King and the civil rights movement.
We thank you for your time, and we thank you for being here. And our prayer goes out to everyone that's here. And on May the 2nd, we will be here as a nonprofit organization, has equal right to come in and be able to pray here and believe for this city to be transformed. I would like to know,
and it is welcome
who does
to all.
not want this city to be transformed? When everyone is welcome to come, everyone here, please come on May 2nd and see what we do. We're praying for our city, we're praying for our country. We want a transformation to take place.
But I think here there's another issue. Isn't there also the government and the city here is paying for religious events in a sense?
Ma'am, the government has always done that. One of our first presidents, Madison, paid for the Bible Society to have from the cities, from the country's money that Bibles can be printed. There's been faith-based initiatives going on globally. The problem is this, that politicians cannot discriminate on viewpoint of the faith-based. If it's a Muslim drug rehab center, they can't say because we don't agree with your views theologically, and also Christians, that long as you meet the criteria as a faith-based social nonprofit, you don't get it because we're afraid that you guys are terrorists. No, our country protects civil dissent from nonprofits. All nonprofits have viewpoints, and you as a politician should never ever say, I'm not gonna give you funding because I disagree with your theological or social viewpoint. That right there is censorship, that right there is communism, that right there is a dangerous path. Whether they're Christians, they're gay activists, they're Catholics, we should all chastise that type of behavior. The question is, will the gay community, will the liberal community chastise its own when they step out of line? Yes. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. God bless you.